Greetings, programs, and welcome back to ArcNeo Reviews. So, figured it'd be fun, since back in my primetime videos, we took a look at the Universe Optimus, which, still is held as like one of the better Optimus figures ever made, and I do tend to agree. This is a great figure. So, I figured it'd be fun to take a look at the Megatron that accompanied it. And this was the last, not masterpiece gun Megatron. And funny enough, I hear so many times people are going on, it looks like a Nerf gun. Yes, this is actually directly modeled after a Nerf gun. So it's not like, it happens to look like that. No, it intentionally looks like a Nerf gun. You can see, kind of see through the sight there. There is like a little crosshair kind of thing. Doesn't, magnify or anything, but also for anyone who is familiar with this figure, yes, this one has been modded to make this part removable. But this is not the figure we're going to look at today, because we're going to look at the much shinier, much more awesome looking Henkei version. Yes, this is actually one of only 2 Japanese figures I have. And this one, like right off the bat, you can see way more G1. It's, the gray and red and everything. Doesn't have a bright orange tip on it. So, quite a bit of a different beast here. And this thing, this has got one of the weirder transformations you're ever going to see. He is definitely a shell former, but especially with how this guy handles it, I'm okay with that. So, I guess worth pointing out, he's got a red scope instead of the lime green scope on the other one. They both have little clicky triggers that do nothing but go clicky. But yeah, so just to hop into transforming on this guy, first thing you're going to do is try to get a hold of these panels, open them up, and already you can see what I mean by shell former. Literally, here's the shell, here's the transformer, just mangled on the inside. And yeah, the way he manages to pull this off, I know a lot of people don't like shell formers. This one, the execution, I will give this a pass. So, kind of just pull the shell parts down out of the way and get this little tab pointing off to this side. This guy's going to be a little tricky to keep in shot, but I will do my best here. Go ahead. It's kind of hard to explain this guy like I normally would, because there is just so much happening. But basically, we're just going to go nuts here. Just folding parts, flipping them around. Locking things in, popping things open, pulling out hands. Bring this up, lock that in, spin the arm around. Right here's a good point. Go ahead and unhinge. The legs will kind of lock the trigger in place, so get them out of the way. Bring it up. That tab will lock into the back there, so he gets kind of great big shell butterfly wings. Then go ahead, just get his legs in position, slide these panels up. Pull out the foot and the heel. Same thing on the other side. Slide up the panel. Foot. heel. Try to get his legs into a good position. Bring the wings as forward as you can to get rid of the top heaviness. Then pull up in the chest. Flip out the head. And there you go. So again, it's not really a walk-through transformation on this guy. It's just a whole lot of explode it and then unexplode it, but different. That really is the only way to put it on this guy. So, let's come in on the head. This is probably the frowniest of Megatrons, with just something about this Megatron just makes me think of M. Bison from Street Fighter, actually. As you can see, really angry face up there. Get to focus as best I can. Shiny chrome chest. The scope becomes the fusion cannon on him, which works really well, actually. Thankfully, almost every joint on this guy is ratcheted, so he can actually hold the weight of, you know, this giant scope and things like that. Try to move the camera here. Legs can go forward all the way, back all the way. 90 degrees at the knee. He does have a swivel right there just above the knee. You can, you know, fold the feet back in if you need. Sadly, no kind of ankle joint, though. On this guy, I don't know how they even could do an ankle joint. A lot of them, you look at it and it's like, yeah, they just didn't do ankle joints back then. I don't even know how they could on this thing. But yeah, this is easily one of the weirdest and still one of the best Megatron figures that I've got. And really quick, just for color comparison, here's what he looks like with his clipped wing brethren. So you can see just the crazy different color schemes that they went with. And their chest pieces actually are slightly different as well. So they're not just painted different, they are actually a little bit different, the way the insignia is molded. And just, here. Bring this guy in a little bit more so you can see. This one definitely has the more dramatic light piping with that lime green. Same, you know, kind of M. Bison looking head, same giant epic unibrow. If he still had his wings attached, he'd look like this. But as you can see, the wings have been completely cut off. There are like a dozen different ways to do this mold. This mod, I mean. I've seen it as simple as just popping the pen. This one had already been cut partially. And then this one, actually, when I got him, had his pin popped. So I actually just cut this piece off entirely because it still had the pin in it, and then used that pin to put this one back together. So definitely a figure that there's a lot of versions of this figure out there, by the way. Not just if you're, you know, trying to find modded or unmodded. I think this guy might stand as probably the most modded figure ever made. But there was this one. There was also just the standard Takara release, which, as I understand, didn't have all the red and shiny. It was more just black and gray. Then in the States, we had a mostly red version of it as well. There's a million versions of this guy. And while he's definitely a bit of a flawed figure, you know, with having these giant wings that most people feel the need to cut off. Oh, and I did miss a step. These clips that actually lock the wing shell together need to be flipped flat. Such a dramatic change, I know. There's a reason I usually forget to do that step. But yeah, no. Weird figure for sure, but definitely worth checking out if you collect Megatron. Personally, I recommend this version the most, just because, if you ask me, it's got the best color scheme. Basically get any of them, though, except that stupid red one, though. The red one looked terrible, but any other version of the mold, it's going to be a weird figure. It's definitely nowhere near as great as the Optimus that came out beside it, but it's definitely a figure worth getting. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.